What's up, and welcome back to the Dual Sense podcast. This is episode number 98. I am one of your co hosts, Jason, and I'm joined as always by your other co host. His name this evening is Bull Schmidt, also known as Travis, of course. What's good?
I really like that one. You don't seem entertained.
It's good. It's good.
Okay.
I shouldn't have read it beforehand, but I was so curious because I saw the bull and the S, and I needed to see what the CH was, and then have the dot dot dot. So I was curious. So
Yeah, I had another one, but I couldn't remember what it was. So Bull Schmidt's what I went with.
Zencaster always makes me naturally curious because it hits me with the ellipsis, your
hmm
favorite term. So I can't see all of your name unless you did it like a 5-character name.
Yeah, my whole life's been an ellipsis.
Same. One of these days, you're going to log in and your name's just going to be an ellipsis. So
Oh,
I
that's
can
a good idea. I should have done that one day.
So I'll finally be able to call you ellipsis, which is
Yeah.
great. Well, we were just talking about how there's no good barbecue in this town and how you can't get the wings at this barbecue joint because they make you shit your asshole off, and
Yeah. They turned me into you.
they turn you into me, correct? And did I talk about my colonoscopy last show? I think I
You
did.
definitely talked about your colonoscopy.
Okay, yeah, man, they cleaned me out.
Yeah, I'm glad.
Yeah, so I don't need any help there
hmm
at all. Nothing good on my end. I just ate a little bit. I've been watching some Friday the 13th marathon on the AMC because it is Friday the 13th when we are recording. And you correct me if I'm wrong. You're the history guy here, but Friday the 13th, the history behind that is that's when the Crusades began. Is that correct?
Sure. I have a book about the Templars. I've never read it, so maybe I should do that.
Oh, oh, so you're not okay. So you can't
No,
confirm that. You can neither
I feel
confirm
like
nor deny that.
no, I feel like I used to know. I feel like that sounds right, because like it would make sense, right? Because
Yeah.
the 13th, it's all bad, devilly and stuff. Crusades, it kind of lines up. I don't know. I always wanted to be witches.
That could just be some shit that I read in the Dan Brown book too, in my defense. So it could be a total fabrication. Maybe they didn't start on a 13th or Friday the 13th. I'm sorry. So who knows? Who knows? Well, anyway, Travis, we are a PlayStation podcast where you and I get together each and every week and we discuss all things PlayStation, like news, rumors, new game releases, and much more. We do it all in under 90 minutes and we post new episodes every Monday on all of the usual podcast services, as well as YouTube, where we also post gameplay videos, which we've been doing quite a bit of. You can also find us on social media at Twitter at the DualSense Pod, as well as our Instagram page where we post virtual photography from game photo modes. We also have a Facebook page and a blog, which is called the DualSense Podcast.wordpress.com. So look us up and let's discuss PlayStation like several of you do. Been conversing with many of you, and a couple of you are interested to hear what I have to say about Ghostwire Tokyo, which sadly I have not been able to play yet, but I will hopefully very soon. So
You got to give the people what they want.
I got to give the people what they want. And I will. I'm going to try to carve out some time this weekend to at least get a couple of hours in to be able to form some sort of opinion on it. So I'd like to give it like at least 3 or 4 hours to see. So I'll try. I'll do my best. But before we move on here, Travis, I did want to mention I don't really think this is news. This is more political than anything else, in my opinion, but it has made the rounds and it's been on Bloomberg and all that. So Jim Ryan did make some controversial comments in a company wide email to all of the PlayStation employees about abortion and Roe versus Wade and all that. From what I've read, essentially, he said that their employees should respect each other's opinion and respect the differences of opinion, and that respecting someone's opinion doesn't mean that you agree with it necessarily. And then he apparently followed that up with 4 or 5 paragraphs about his cat's birthdays and some other weird shit about pets. So I think it's kind of a 2-part deal where he said something that I think is totally fine, but then he followed that up. He followed up a serious email with some tone deaf bullshit about his pets. So I think people that upsetted people. I think maybe people were upset too about the fact that he didn't take the stance that they wanted him to take. But the only thing I really want to say about it, and if you have anything to say, you can. But the only thing I really want to say about it is that I didn't know that respecting other people's opinions, even if they're different than yours, was such a bad thing. Is all I really have to say. I thought that was really what we were working towards, but maybe I'm wrong about that. So I don't know.
You're not, but that's the culture today. It's when I say culture, I mean it's a very small minority, but they're loud,
Mm,
and you're allowed to have your own opinion as long as you agree with them.
mm,
Anything else is a problem. So it is what it is.
fair.
Nothing he said there is that controversial, but whatever.
Sure. Sure. Anyway, so I did just want to acknowledge it and because it's not news, like I said. But now let's really get into the news. Starting with number one. Publisher Electronic Arts and the world's governing organization for football and soccer officially announced the end of their near 30-year partnership this week after months of rumors and veiled insinuations. The split kicked off with EA announcing that after this year's FIFA 23 release, EA will begin, quote, a new era in July of 2023, end quote, with the introduction of the EA Sports FC series. In a press release, EA Sports general manager Cam Weber said, quote, everything you love about our games will be a part of EA Sports FC. The same great experiences, modes, leagues, tournaments, clubs, and athletes will be there. Ellipsis. Our unique licensing portfolio of more than 19,000 plus players, 700 plus teams, 100 plus stadiums, and 30 leagues that we've continued to invest in for decades will still be there uniquely in EA Sports FC. That includes exclusive partnerships with the Premier League, La Liga, Bundesliga, Serie A, and Major League Soccer, and more to come. This new independent platform will bring fresh opportunity to innovate, create, and evolve. This is much more than just a change of symbol. As EA Sports, we're committed to ensuring EA Sports FC is a symbol of change, end quote. If you'll remember, it was first rumored in October of last year that EA was entertaining the idea of dropping the FIFA name on its annual release. EA CEO Andrew Wilson even went as far as calling the FIFA brand, quote unquote, an impediment at an internal staff meeting. Reports from the New York Times claim that the two sides reached an impasse over additional rights and doubling of the licensing agreement by FIFA to $2.5 billion over the next decade. Guns point both ways, however, and FIFA followed EA's announcement with a statement of their own. In it, FIFA outlined plans to launch a new football game series developed with third-party studios and publishers that will be, quote, providing more choice for football and gaming fans, end quote. Discussions with publishers, media companies, and investors are currently ongoing, according to the governing body, and will ultimately yield a direct competitor to EA Sports FC. In the meantime, FIFA already has plans in motion to release what they are calling quote unquote non simulation football games, the first of which will launch in the third quarter of this year and is described as a quote tailored gaming experience, end quote, featuring the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. In the strongly worded press release, FIFA president Gianni Infantino said, quote, I can assure you that the only authentic, real game that has the FIFA name will be the best one available for gamers and football fans. The FIFA name is the only global original title. FIFA 23, FIFA 24, FIFA 25, FIFA 26, and so on. The constant is the FIFA name, and it will remain forever and remain the best, end quote. So, what do you think about FIFA and EA
Mhm.
sourly ending their partnership?
At the end there, Gianni kind of sounded like LeBron at the Miami Heat presser.
I thought the same
He's
thing.
just counting shit up, dude. Come on. Okay, first of all, like, let's just start at the beginning. So yeah, we talked about this in October, and I think if I remember correctly, my original reaction was kind of mixed. Like, I get it, but I also don't get it. And at the same time, I don't really know what to make of it. I have no doubt that EA will be able to make a soccer game that is good. Like they've been making a good soccer game for a very long time, and some of
Mm-hmm.
those iterations have been fantastic and great, but most of them are good. At the very least, they are good. They're above average, right? I think that's a
Yeah.
fair statement. So I don't think that will change. The biggest hurdle for them is as long as they have the licensing to use the teams and the players, I think they'll be okay. I really think they'll be okay,
Right.
and they know that. That's why they're doing this. I'm always a little bit. It's always weird when names change like this because I feel the same way. Like when like the Washington Redskins or the Commanders now, or the Cleveland Indians or the Guardians now. Like it's so weird to
Yeah.
me. But at the end of the day, they're still playing sports, and it kind of doesn't matter. So I feel similar. I feel similar to this situation for EA. As far as what the FIFA president is saying, like this just seems like such a FIFA president comment at the end. Like, we're gonna make a game and it's gonna be great. It's like you're probably not, just to be honest.
Mhm.
Like, you're gonna use a third party studio. So I would be willing to bet that if they don't use the PES platform, let's say they don't use the PES platform, that means they're gonna use a platform that has never made a soccer game before. More than likely.
Mhm.
The odds that they're gonna be able to beat a developer that's been making it for 30 years is not likely to me. That's just
Yeah.
not in the realm of possibility. It might be good, but like, okay, like best case scenario, you're hoping you have a NBA Live versus 2K kind of thing in its heyday. There was like 3 or 4 years there where it could have went either way, right? You kind of hope
Right.
that that's what we're getting. I don't know if that'll happen. I have a hard time seeing this happen, and also I'm not sure why FIFA is so worried about having a video game. Like, do they need this?
Yeah.
It's the most popular sport in the world. It's not really pushing your brand in that way.
Yeah.
So I don't get that at all. But the most interesting thing about all of this to me is is Andrew Wilson saying that the FIFA brand is an impediment at an internal staff meeting to what? What is it? What are they impeding you from doing? Right? What is the innovation that FIFA, the licensing there, isn't allowing you to do? Is it because the agreement costs so much money you can't spend the money on developing an engine or innovating or whatever, or is it because they're not letting you do like you know MLS Street or something like that? That's my question.
Mm.
So,
Mm.
but no, like, listen, EA will be fine. I don't know what FIFA's doing here at the end. I think they're worried about the wrong shit because right now they're putting the World Cup in a country where they're killing people to have stadiums. So, like, I think they have bigger issues to worry about than a gaming license.
FIFA's a mess, and it's kind of been a mess for decades now. There's been corruption at FIFA at the highest
Right.
levels. Countries paying for World Cups for the right to host, etc. This just it amazes me how quickly this went bad and how sour this went so fast. And you mentioned that why do they feel like they have to have a licensed game? And I think it would be odd for the governing body of soccer to not have a game because all the other major sports do. But to your point, they don't have EA now. And really, the only other notable sports game developer to speak of is 2K. And obviously, they don't have a soccer game, so there's an opportunity there. But what 2K studio are you going to go get to make a soccer game? Because I don't, to my knowledge, they don't have that experience. So you're going to be starting from the ground up in a way. I think if you're going to do something, maybe like you said, it makes more sense to just go get eFootball and call it FIFA, whatever. Go to Konami and do that. I don't know. The other thing is that we're going to have, if that's the case, if let's say FIFA goes out and makes their own soccer game with someone new, as you said, then we're going to have 4 soccer games. We're going to have EA's game. We're going to have eFootball. We're going to have that free to play UCL game that studio is making on Unreal Engine 5 that we've just got teases of. And then we'll have FIFA's game. We'll have 4 games
Hmm.
for one sport, and that just isn't that just doesn't happen for
Hmm.
any of the other sports. I mean, we every other sport has one game except for like racing.
Yeah.
But even then, like the different forms of racing really only have one
Yeah.
game.
There's not 11 NASCAR games.
Correct. Correct. So that's odd that there's so much saturation in the soccer market of sporting games. But I think you're right. I think you're spot on with the fact that EA is going to be fine because people, no matter what it's going to be called. I think a while back I said, how can you do this? How can you have a FIFA game, or how can you have a soccer game but not have the FIFA name on it? But then I think you and I talked more about it, and we understood that no matter whether they have that FIFA branding on it or not, people are going to see that it's the EA Sports soccer game, and they're still going to call it FIFA.
Right, so yeah, we
if
said
they call it,
it's like Kleenex.
if they call it, yeah, if they call it EA Sports FC 24 or whatever, they're gonna people are just gonna be like, hey, did you get FIFA? I don't, so I don't know. I mean, but I think EA is going to be fine. They obviously have the pedigree, the experience, the studio, the resources, the infrastructure to just keep going. It sounds like they're going to be able to keep all of the major licenses. And so I guess that means that that FIFA has no control over those licenses at all, which makes sense. This is wild. Oh, and just as a whole, because they've been partners for almost 30 years, and obviously things fell apart pretty quickly, and in a pretty bad way.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like FIFA got greedy, which doesn't really surprise me,
Right.
given what I mentioned earlier about corruption and that they weren't backing down on it.
Mm-hmm.
So it is what it is. It seems like a disaster for FIFA. It seems like a unnecessary loss of a revenue stream for really no good reason.
Yeah, we always talk about, fixing the low hanging fruit at work, and like just make the contract work. Like that's a low hanging thing for FIFA that we can get right. And
Yeah,
like you said, definitely greed here, because you see that 2.5 billion up there over the next decade. I feel like FIFA was like, we want 2.5 billion. Like, this is an important revenue stream. You need to give us 2.5 billion. We're not moving. And then Andrew Wilson walks out, puts his balls on the table, and says, "Fuck off. I don't need you." And like,
yeah,
that's I kind of respect him for that in a way. Like that they're like, "Yeah, we don't need you. Watch me do this without you." I kind of like that in a
yeah.
lot of ways.
Yeah, I agree. The other thing, coming back to another point you made, what did EA really think that like they were impeded on by having the FIFA brand, or like what was FIFA not letting them do? Like to me, that smells like bullshit. Like
Yeah.
I just don't believe that the FIFA brand was an impediment in any way. Like that sounds like just marketing bullshit, like we talk about all the time. That just seems like PR marketing speak bullshit, like something to say to make it sound like they had to do
Yeah.
it. We just fucking had to do it because they're not going to let us do blank and that's what the fans want. Like, get the fuck out of here, guys. You're making hand over fist for them. I think that if you really wanted to do something that was within reason, that they would let you do it with the license. So I'm not buying that.
Yeah, I feel like that if you could read Andrew's text to his buddies, like these fucking clowns wanted 2.5 billion, and I was like, "Fuck off!" And that's it. That's like that's the reason.
Right. Number two, this week, Sony released its financial results for the last fiscal year, which ended on March 31st. Overall, sales were up 3% over the last fiscal year to 20.7 billion with a B, while operating income, also known as profit, rose 1.2% to $2.6 billion. Hardware sales were the biggest growth area for Sony, with a 9.5% increase year over year to 6.4 billion. Meanwhile, network services were up 6.8% to 3.1 billion, and digital software and add-on content fell 2% to 10.8 billion. Sony shipped 11.5 million PlayStation 5 units during the fiscal year, bringing the total sold since launch to 19.3 million. But they missed their original target of 14.8 million PS5 sold during the year due to ongoing supply constraint issues. Sony shipped 1 million PlayStation 4 units as well, but that is down from 5.7 million the year before. On the software front, PlayStation sold 43.9 million copies of first party studio titles out of the total 303.2 million software units sold across both PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Digital downloads accounted for 66% of all software sales. Looking ahead to this year, Sony forecasts quote unquote significant increases in the PlayStation division due to quote an expected increase in sales of non-profit, not non-first party titles, end quote, but a drop in profit due to an quote expected increase in costs, mainly for game software development at existing studios, end quote, in addition to the $3.6 billion acquisition of Bungie, of course. In terms of PS5 availability for the next year, Sony expects to sell 18 million PlayStation 5 units, and they feel confident that they can hit that mark, with Chief Financial Officer Hiroki Totoki saying, quote, 18 million units is what we feel very comfortable that we can get the parts and components for, end quote. Although he did add that this would still fall short of where the demand for the system is at currently. On the services side of PlayStation, Totoki is unfazed by a dip in PlayStation Plus subscribers, which is down several 100,000 users from the third quarter to the fourth quarter of the fiscal year. only the second such dip in the last 8 years for PlayStation Plus. Totoki attributed the dip to a relaxing of COVID restrictions, seeing people return to normal consumer behavior, and also noting that average engagement and playtime remains high on the service. PlayStation also saw a dip of monthly active users from 111 million to 106 million from the third quarter to the fourth quarter, but Sony remains steadfast and instead has high expectations for the upcoming revamp of the PlayStation Plus service, with Totoki stating, quote, "I would like you to have great expectations for this together with me," end quote. It's a very Japanese way to say that. And finally, Sony expects the Bungie acquisition deal to close by December 31st of this year, despite Federal Trade Commission review as expected. All right. So a lot going on there. Do you have any takeaways?
Yeah, most of those numbers are not overtly surprising, so I'll just leave those where they are. What I find interesting is he keeps saying that, or we keep hearing the narrative that there's like the demand isn't, the supply is not meeting the demand for the PS5s, but like I don't feel like that's the case anymore. I feel like people can find them if they want them. Maybe I'm crazy, but I just feel like it's the opportunity is there. It's not like it was the second week after pre-orders came out and nobody you couldn't find one in the world unless you're just setting on
Hmm.
Twitter. So like I don't feel like that's as big of a gap as they're acting like it is anymore. I think they're still hiding behind that a little bit, which is kind of annoying to me, to be honest with you.
Oh, okay. That's fair.
As far as like, and it's kind of listen. He says he's not worried about the dip on the PS Plus subscribers and whatnot, but like if that's the case, then why are we revamping it? Like we're
Mm,
revamping it for a reason, and you can make the argument that well,
mm,
Microsoft has a model that seems to be working better, or is more modern, or fits the modern user better. Okay, I can buy that, but also like a good company doesn't make one decision based solely on a competitor like that. Like you also have to have some sort of research or reasoning within your own company as to why you should do it. Right? There should be more than one reason why. Like I think the fact that they've lost some subscribers is a legitimate reason that they're looking at this. The users, like I said, the active users dipped in the month also by like 6 million. So I think those are all legitimate reasons that you would try to revamp something, I think. Um, but, you know, what do I know? I could be completely wrong about that. That's just kind of how I see it.
I think you make a good point. It does seem counterintuitive to go and change something that's not necessarily broken, but that doesn't need changing. You know what I mean? So I think there's some validity to that, and maybe it is simply just trying to come to terms with your competitor in some ways, or maybe they really are, back in the office concerned about the dip or the forecast at least. And I don't know. It's hard to say, but I do think that they have an expectation for the new changes to the service to upsell us, meaning with the new tiers now, I think they are aiming to try to get people like you who are just on the regular PlayStation Plus to upgrade a tier,
Hmm.
and try to get that increased annual, monthly, quarterly revenue from you. It's that subscription service model where Netflix wants to get you in there. They want you to forget about it and just let it auto renew every
Hmm.
month. You know what I'm saying? So again, I think it is a good point that you make of why change it if it doesn't need changing. So it's hard to say, but the 18 million units for the PS5, that seems like a lot. I mean, they sold 11 and a half. They sold 11.5 million this year, so they're going to increase that by 6.5 million. That seems like a
Hmm.
lot. They are going to change the model of the PS5 this year. That, if you'll remember, they've changed the internal chip for it to try to make it easier to produce and all that. So that's supposed to be happening at some point this year. They're going to make that switch. So maybe that's why the forecast is more positive, I guess, or
Hmm.
increased from last year. Overall, though, PlayStation very healthy. They've been very healthy, and I think just as we going to talk some more here when we get to the MPD stuff here in a little bit, I think the market, the video game industry, is just kind of coming back to normal in some
Hmm.
ways from the pandemic, and things are still above where we were before the pandemic. But I think that some of these dips that we're seeing, or some of this leveling out, is going to be normal, and it's something that obviously. the insane growth and that we had during the pandemic wasn't going to sustain itself.
I did think one thing I forgot to mention was, 44 million copies of first party studio titles
Yeah.
of the 300 million software units. So that's like a sixth or a seventh of all the units were first party, which seems like a
Hmm.
lot to me. I feel like that wasn't the case a decade ago. Like that seems like a lot.
Yeah, that's a lot of games that they just, they made all the profit on. They didn't have to pay. They published themselves, and they didn't have to pay a cut of anything necessarily. So yeah, that's a lot of games sold in general, but like you said, a lot of first party games as well. And then of course, digital games still accounting for the majority of software sales. I think in the future we're headed for an all digital ecosystem, no disc option. I don't know. Maybe PlayStation 6 is when we see that. I don't know. We'll see what they do with the PS5 Pro. Number three, publisher Electronic Arts also put out their financial reports this week and revealed that they have an unannounced new major IP in the works, as well as a remake, which is likely Dead Space, a new sports title, and a new quote unquote partner title, which is likely Star Wars Jedi 2, all scheduled to release in early 2023. The company also said that they are quote unquote taking the long view with Battlefield 2042. Elsewhere, insider Tom Henderson reported that his sources claim the next Battlefield game will not release until 2024, while VentureBeat's Jeff Grubb reports that the upcoming Star Wars Jedi sequel is called Star Wars Jedi Survivor. EA CEO Andrew Wilson also pointed out in their earnings report that 31% of their revenue was from live service games, which is allowing their other traditional AAA projects to take more time in development. So, any thoughts on what EA has in the works, or maybe what that sports title could be?
Sure, like the Battlefield thing is interesting to me. If you follow the series, you could have done the math on that at least 2024, and maybe even
Mm-hmm.
the end of 2024. If the new Battlefield, that's coming out in 2 years or 3 years, if it doesn't go well, if it goes like 2042, I'm not sure that we see one for a long time. I think they might go a different direction and either revive a
Mm,
dead IP or make a new one completely. Because I just feel like the beating they're taking on 2042, I just don't feel like they want to do like that's you can't take two of those in a row.
yeah.
So I think that's something to watch out for in the future. As far as well, I'm always curious about new major IPs that are unannounced. I have no idea what that could be. As far as the sports title, I want it to be Fight Night. That's what I
Mm,
want. I want it to be a boxing game. I have no idea if that's even the case.
yeah.
I've heard like we tweeted earlier. I know they're making 6 racing games. That's a thing that's pretty well known. They're all
Hmm.
different. Obviously, F1 is always going to be one in the mix now. What else is there? Oh, Need for Speed is one that we know of. So there's two that we know of
Hmm.
for sure. And what's the other one that I was thinking about just a minute ago? I know of three off the top of my head, but I can't remember what the last one was I was thinking of. So anyway, a new sports title. I really hope it's boxing, but who knows? Maybe they're going to compete with themselves on soccer. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you never know. It could be like a street title, like you said earlier. I think I have no idea what the major IP is. I have no clue what that could be. It sounds like it's a new game, like not a sequel to anything. So no idea on that. The sports title, I initially thought, yeah, Fight Night. Like you said, I was like, okay, Fight Night. But then I remembered, I had to go back and look it up. But Tom Henderson said a while back that they're working on a Fight Night game, but it's been pushed back while they focus on making a new UFC game.
Fuck that.
So I wonder if it could be a UFC game, UFC 5 or whatever. I don't know when is a normal time to release a UFC
Hmm.
game because I don't know anything about it.
What about a WWE wrestling game?
I mean, I don't know though. See, I feel like WWE is one of those leagues that they don't want another
Okay.
licensed game. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying? Like I feel like they only want one. Like they don't want to divide it up. So my theory, and I tweeted it earlier, but I think this could be because of the time frame in the winter. Like I think their quarter four is January, February, March. So I'm wondering if this is the return of NBA
Could
Live.
be.
It would drop in the middle of the NBA season in the winter. It would be after 2K puts their game out, and it's been quiet for a long time. So I'm wondering. That's my theory. Yes, and then the other thing I wanted to say was 71% of EA's revenue is from live service games. That is staggering, and I also think that says a lot about why PlayStation has 10 live service games coming out in the next 4 years, because obviously there's a lot of money in it, but I think it also gives them opportunities to take their time
Mhm,
and to not have, content droughts. They don't have to put pressure on the other teams to make, the traditional single player games like God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, all that, etc. So
mhm,
that's something I never really considered, but that's a really good.
mhm,
I mean, this is why Andrew Wilson probably makes millions of dollars as CEO of EA. But yeah, that's
mhm.
something that I think is very fascinating, and I think that makes a lot of sense of why we're seeing that decision from PlayStation.
You make an interesting point about content drought. So when you're making 70% of your revenue from a live service and you're getting to add in content randomly that people pay for, sure, they might be paying 10 or 15 bucks or 20
Right.
bucks a pop, but they're paying for like basically a demo length version of something, an add-on. So like you're making money and you're not really spending a whole lot of money to develop the content because the whole base of the game and all that framework already exists.
Yeah.
So that's kind of interesting. I think that must be why they're so profitable, is because it's so making it is almost way more linear than making a whole game from scratch. It's pretty much right there.
Yeah, and that's something that they can monetize every few months or so. Like if you have a live service game, you have a battle pass or whatever every 3 months, or an expansion every 3 months that somebody pays, like you said, 10 or 15 bucks for, or $20. And if you do that for 2 or 3, 4 years, or if you're something like Rainbow Six Siege that's been going for 6 or 7 years, and you put out a $15 battle pass every 4 months, like and you got millions of players. I mean, you can do the math. That's a lot of money. Number four, the NPD Group released their April video game industry sales data this week. Consumer spending across video game hardware, content, and accessories fell 8% compared to April of last year. And year to date 2022 spending is down 8% from last year as well. The industry has had 6 consecutive months of year over year declines, but is still well above pre pandemic norms as the market begins to return from whence it came. Hardware sales were up 16% year over year as console supply improved. The Nintendo Switch passed the PlayStation 4 as the fourth best selling console in US history and the sixth best selling console overall. While PlayStation 5 led April in hardware dollar sales, Elden Ring was the second best selling game of April, which led it to surpass Call of Duty Vanguard as the best selling game of the last 12 months. The top 10 best selling video games on PlayStation platforms were: number one, Lego Star Wars The Skywalker Saga; MLB The Show 22, which was 3 on the overall list, regardless of platform. Third on PlayStation was Elden Ring, followed by Horizon Forbidden West, which was 7 overall; Gran Turismo 7, which was 9 overall; Call of Duty Vanguard; Spider Man Miles Morales, which was 15 overall; WWE 2K22, although that does not include digital sales; FIFA 22 is 9, and Madden NFL 22 is 10. So, what do you make of any of this MPD data?
We are regressing to the mean of video game sales, video game market. So it's amazing to me that Elden Ring has sold more copies than any game in the last 12 months. That is wild to me.
Yeah, it's only been out 3 months, too.
Right. And I think that lends a little bit of credit to, I know that people are like, man, Call of Duty is really bad this year and it's down. I think the fact that a game like Elden Ring is outselling it is really giving that kind of credibility to that.
Hmm.
And also a fun thing that we talked about, we talk about so much, we just talked about EA having 71% of their sales from live service games, and then we have a game like Elden Ring that's really different than a lot of these live service games. Like it's legitimately difficult. There's a talent curve involved, but it sells well, right? Because it's a really good game. So, there's a market for both, which is like the biggest thing I think that we can preach. There's a market for both because I don't want to lose the Elden Rings of the world. But that being said, WWE with the digital sales probably would have been easily been top five,
Yeah.
which is crazy considering 2 years ago that game people were inside of mats and stuff, and it's
Yeah.
a hell of a recovery. It's a recovery I didn't think we would see. and the fact that it's above Madden and FIFA is very interesting to me. Even minus the digital sales, that's wild to me. But other than that, nothing too surprising there. I assume the Skywalker Saga will be, those Lego Star Wars games always sell really well. Horizon, I just thought it would be lower for some reason, but other than that, nothing else that seems out of place there.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of drop in the industry overall is to be expected. I think that's going to continue as the year goes on, just as we, like we talked about, we get back to kind of the averages, the normal. So that's to be expected. Hardware sales being up though, so we did get some supply. I guess that's why the couple people that you work with were able to find PS5. They had some
Mhm.
supply increases this month, and the Nintendo Switch passing the PS4 is the fourth best selling console in the US, sixth best overall worldwide. Insane. That means they've sold over 117 million hardware units. And that just goes to show you that, in my opinion, Sony really fucked up by not giving us another handheld or some type of hybrid system. And I think that although PSVR 2 looks cool, I think that they bet on the wrong horse with VR versus handheld or
Mhm.
mobile, or not mobile, but portable gaming. And I think that they miscalculated there somewhere, because I think that people don't just want to play portably, like away from the house, but people want to play portably within the house. They want to be able to play in the living room while family watches TV, whatever, the kids watch whatever stupid show that they're watching, that sort of thing. I think Sony just missed the mark on that one. And it's amazing that they just continue to concede that entire hybrid market. And everybody is really, except for Steam now. They have the Steam Deck, so they're trying to compete.
Yeah, like Microsoft isn't responding either, so
Yeah. They've got the, I guess, whatever, you can stream cloud, Xbox Cloud to your phone, but that's not the same. Like that's not what people like me want. I don't want to fucking take my iPhone and play PlayStation games on it with my DualSense. That's not what I want. That's not the same. Anyway, I digress. So, as far as the games, pretty crazy that Elden Ring passed Call of Duty for the last 12 months. Like you said, that says a lot about Call of Duty Vanguard. I am a little bit surprised, honestly, that Skywalker Saga was number one. I did not expect that. I think that shows you the power of that IP with Star Wars. MLB The Show, of course, selling well. It will continue to all year. Horizon, like you said, I thought it would be a little bit lower, and I'm not so sure that that game is selling terribly well. I don't think it's meeting their sales expectations, and otherwise
Mhm.
we would have heard about it already. I think in terms of what they've sold. Gran Turismo 7, that's about where I expected it. And then the last thing really on the list there, Spider-Man Miles Morales is back on the list. They're at number 7 and 15 on the overall list. That game is just insane. Seems like it's going to keep going. Number 5, PlayStation shared April's most downloaded games on the PlayStation Store this week. On PS5, the most downloaded game was, of course, Lego Star Wars: The Skywalker Saga, followed by MLB The Show 22, Elden Ring, WWE 2K22. There you go. Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, NBA 2K22, Cyberpunk 2077, Gran Turismo 7, Spider Man Miles Morales, Madden NFL 22, Mortal Kombat 11, Horizon Forbidden West, all the way down there, Call of Duty Vanguard, Jedi Fallen Order, It Takes Two, Ghost of Tsushima Director's Cut, Among Us, Grand Theft Auto 5, Kena Bridge of Spirits, and The Elder Scrolls Online at 20. On PlayStation 4, the most downloaded game was MLB The Show 22, followed by The Skywalker Saga. And then Batman Arkham Knight at 3, no doubt had something to do with the Batman movie coming out,
Mhm.
followed by Elden Ring at 4, GTA 5, NBA 2K22, Minecraft, WWE 2K22, Red Dead Redemption 2, Injustice 2, lots of twos, Little Nightmares, Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Call of Duty Vanguard, The Last of Us Part 2, Naruto to Baruto, Shinobi Striker, UFC 4, Chrono Cross, The Radical Dreamers Edition, Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War, Mortal Kombat 11, and The Crew 2 at number 20. The PlayStation VR list was essentially the same as last month, and the only noteworthy entry on the free to play list is that Vampire the Masquerade Blood Hunt debuted at number 3 on the list. So, any takeaways here?
Yeah, the downloads kind of reflect more of where I thought things would stack up.
Yeah.
Horizon West is pretty low,
Yeah.
as is Call of Duty. It's kind of wild. Like after Madden, it's just I feel like just there's just shit thrown at the wall after Madden. It's just like it takes two stuck, cool. Like it's like weird.
Yeah.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands. I've heard some people talk about it. They really enjoy that game. They really like it. Apparently, people like legitimately when they start playing it, they like burn through it. Like they like like they just like they get hooked into it basically, and it's like all they play until they beat it. So I'm
Sure.
not surprised that it's up there. That's a pretty good release for it. As far as the four goes, and I say this with love, the games on the four that are downloaded, it looks like to me that dads gave their kids the PS4, and then and the kids are just downloading these are games I picture kids downloading. You know what I mean? Like
Sure.
whatever. I mean, like GTA 5 and NBA 2K. Like I get it. Like it's there's some random sports games. Hey, Narturo, Chrono Cross. Those feel like games kids play. Mortal Kombat 11. Like it just seems like stuff that the kids would be doing because all
Whoa.
there's games on here. I have a Mortal Kombat shirt. There are kids on here that or games on here that there's more games on this list that aren't full price, which makes me feel
Mm,
like kids are trying to get them, is what I'm trying to say.
I see.
It's just interesting to me.
I think a lot of it on PS4 just is getting recycled because there's nothing. I mean, there are no more new releases that coming. Well, at least from the first party coming on PlayStation 4. You know what I mean? Like Horizon was the last one. Well, I guess God of War is going to come too whenever that comes. So that'll be the last one that we know of. But
A lot of coming.
a lot of coming, a lot of coming. I'm more worried about the coming and not the going. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, my observations are pretty much the same as the MPD list. Tiny Tina Wonderland stands out to me as kind of hanging around there, and really nothing else surprises me. I think the Elder Scrolls Online made it in there because I think they just dropped a new expansion or about to something like that. Yeah, nothing else really to say. Free to play, Blood Hunt debut, you get number 3. It'll probably fall off by the time we get to this list next month. Is my opinion, my guess. Number 6. All right, Travis, we have a bunch of news nuggets here as well, of course. Feel free to join me wherever you see fit. First nugget, strangely, publisher Square Enix revealed in their financial reporting that they have plans to, quote, boost game development capabilities by establishing new studios, mergers and acquisitions, etc., end quote, as discovered by Axios reporter Stephen Totillo. This, of course, comes immediately after selling 3 major Western development studios to Embracer Group just last week.
Uh huh.
What the fuck are they doing?
Do you think that they accidentally like hit send on a draft from like 2011?
I don't know. I think they, I think they literally like, all right, fuck the West, like get these guys out of here, get them the
Right.
fuck out, and let's open up some more Japanese studios. So
That's cool to me.
yeah, that's what I think they're doing. I don't know. That's so odd to me. Like, what is going on at Square Enix? Jesus Christ! And they're talking about blockchain and NFTs and shit last week. Like, fuck off. Next nugget, website Video Games Chronicle reported that the long rumored new Silent Hill game has leaked, courtesy of insider Aesthetic Gamer, who is previously known as Dusk Golem. All
Oh,
these
that guy.
fucking all these fucking reset era names kill me. Anyway, Aesthetic Gamer posted 4 leaked images from the game, which apparently is set in Britain. One of the concept art images even appears to be signed by Masahiro Ito himself, and it's dated October 20th, 2020. Ito, of course, is the monster designer and art director on the original Silent Hill trilogy. The images were quickly copyright striked by their owner, and Aesthetic Gamer's Twitter account was temporarily locked. So that means those are real.
Right.
Uh, anyway, we've known Silent Hill is on the way. This is the first real like leak of it that we know of.
What do you mean? What about Abandon? That was a leak. That was Silent Hill.
Yeah, well, we still don't know what the fuck Abandon is though. We have no we have no idea. It could be anything. It could be Kojima.
Nobody found Ito written in the blocks or anything.
Oh well, we're gonna have to go back now. We're gonna have to go back. Next nugget. Warner Brothers Montreal's open world cooperative RPG Gotham Knights has ditched the last gen versions of the game and will now come only to PlayStation 5 when it launches on October the 25th. They also released some new gameplay this week and it looks fucking terrible.
Yeah, one of my thoughts was like, did they release the gameplay or did they get some gameplay and they knew it was awful and they were like, let's just say that was on PS4 and then we'll only do PS5 and that'll
I
be
don't
like a way
know.
to salvage it.
It looks fucking boring. It just looks so fucking boring. And then they showed the menu. It's like leaning really heavy into like the RPG, like loot shit with the stats and whatever. And
Uh-huh.
to me, like immediately when I saw the gameplay and saw what they were trying to do with all that shit, I was like, oh my God. They're doing to Assassin's Creed what Odyssey and Valhalla did. Like this is they're totally ruining the Batman Arkham shit
Hmm.
by doing this. This is what they're doing. So I wish them well. Also, Ubisoft shared their annual financial results and forecast for the upcoming year this week. They reiterated that both Avatar Frontiers of Pandora from Ubisoft Massive and Skull and Bones from Ubisoft Singapore will be out by March 31st of next year. The sequel to the original 2009 Avatar film releases this December, so they may be aiming for some synergy there. Meanwhile, Travis, Skull and Bones has been rated for release in South Korea, which means it is only a few months away. That fucking blows my mind.
Really, yeah, especially when they rebooted it like 2 months ago, it seems like. But
Yeah,
I mean, when you're running Crunch with a Singapore stick, I guess it's pretty easy to get it done.
that's fair. That's fair. When you got the government shoving Singapore sticks up your ass. The Avatar Frontiers of Pandora game does not interest me at all, other than the fact that it's made by the same guys that made The Division. So I'm like morbidly curious about it, but we'll see. Also, the delayed Resident Evil multiplayer game, Resident Evil Reverse, has been rated for Google Stadia, which means that a release is just a few months away. EA's Motive Studio held a new live stream for the Dead Space remake this week. If you're interested, they also announced that the game will release on January 27th of next year. Legendary British game developer David Ward, the co-founder of Ocean Software, passed away at the age of 75.
I thought he made I thought he made Infinity Ward.
You would think, right? A new Mass Effect N7-day collectible has outed the return of Commander Shepard for the upcoming revival of the series, although BioWare has said that that's not what they were trying to do, but we'll fucking see. Publisher 2K announced that WWE 2K19 and 2K20 servers will be shut down on June 30th of this year. New firmware updates for the PS3 and Vita dropped this week and have disabled PSN account creation on the devices. Users will now have to use a smartphone to create an account. Tony Todd, the actor who plays Venom in Insomniac 2's Spider-Man. Oh my God.
Insomniac 2's Spider-Man.
Fuck this shit. Fuck this shit. Tony Todd, the actor who plays Venom in Insomniac's Spider-Man 2 game, has begun motion capture work on the project. Fuck it. We'll do it live. Fuck it. EA developer Codemasters confirmed that Criterion Games and Codemasters Cheshire are merging to continue working on the Need for Speed franchise moving forward. Cheshire Cat has already been supporting development on this year's Need for Speed title that is soon to be announced. Also, Sony Interactive Entertainment has registered a new PS5 model in Japan, model series CFI 1200, which features updated radio equipment at the very least. Of
Mine doesn't
course,
even have a radio.
I know, I want to listen to the fucking PBS News on mine. Of course, a more significantly redesigned model of the console featuring a new semi-custom CPU from AMD will go into production in the second or third quarter, of this year in an effort to combat chip shortages, as I mentioned earlier. Publisher Square Enix says that it plans to make an announcement soon about the 35th anniversary of Final Fantasy. Sega, or Sega, stated in their financial reporting this week that it has multiple remakes, remasters, and new games scheduled to release by April of next year. Publisher 505 Games announced a digital product showcase for May 17th. They of course are the publishers of Control and Death Stranding on PC, among other games. We'll see about that. The PlayStation 5 received a firmware update this week that naturally improved system performance. There was also a PS4 firmware update this week. Developer Remedy Entertainment released new concept art for Alan Wake 2, and it appears to be leaning heavily into the horror side of things. Elsewhere, the in development Alan Wake television series has been picked up by television network AMC.
Hmm.
Interesting.
That is interesting.
That is. I'll check that out. Techland has delayed Dying Light 2's first story DLC to September. Developer Funcom is hiring for its in development next gen open world survival game based on the Dune franchise, which it acquired the video game rights to in 2019.
Hmm.
Man, they got out ahead of that just in time.
Right. I don't know if you saw it yesterday, but Christopher Walken's going to be in the Dune sequel.
I did. That makes me very excited.
But is he going to talk like he does in Wedding Crashers? Like,
that is true. Hey, yeah.
he just take me out of the movie completely.
Oh, that'd fucking kill me. Also, website gamesindustry.biz reported that popular indie life simulator game Stardew Valley has now sold 20 million copies worldwide. Website Push Square reported that leaked documents reveal Polish horror game developer Bloober Team has signed a, quote, significant license and distribution agreement with Sony Interactive Entertainment, end quote, which mentions select games from the studio being made available as part of a, quote, new distribution system, end quote. Most likely the revamped PlayStation Plus. Very interesting. Sony remains the second largest moneymaker in the game. Shake that moneymaker in the gaming industry with $18.2 billion in revenue for the last fiscal year, outdone by only Tencent's outrageous $32.2 billion in revenue for the year.
That's crazy because they probably spent $50 billion buying shit, I feel like.
Right, no kidding.
They also tweeted at us earlier.
They fucking did, man. I reported that real quick. Fucking hell. Also, Konami just had its most profitable fiscal year ever, thanks in large part to free-to-play card battler Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel.
Makes sense. It's free to play, but they made money.
Yeah. The PS5 version of Deliver Us the Moon has been delayed from this month to sometime in June.
Did they come out and say, June-ish?
Yeah. Yeah, we'll get to it in June. Genshin Impact developer MiHoYo announced their next title, an action RPG called Zenless Zone Zero. Zone, I get whatever. Yeah, that is that word, isn't it? Jesus Christ. Zenless Zone Zero. Oh, in my head it was done, but with a Z. All right. It was not specifically announced for PlayStation platforms, but that seems inevitable after the success of Genshin Impact. Developer Mediatonic is teasing a big Fall Guys announcement for next week, likely announcement of coming to Xbox and Switch. A trademark for RPG series Shadow Hearts has been filed in Japan, likely to do with its inclusion in the PlayStation Plus premium tier as a retro game. Warner Brothers Games is holding a closed alpha for its free-to-play multiplayer platform brawler Multiversus on PS4 and PS5 this week. Yeah, fuck yeah. I'm excited. Deathloop received a new update this week, which adds a photo mode and various accessibility features. The final game in the My Name is Mayo franchise, My Name is Mayo 3, will release this week on May 17th.
Easy plats.
Yeah, that's one of the notoriously easy platinum trophy games, like you said. Super Smash Bros. Style brawler Lego Brawls will release on PS4 and PS5 this summer. Survival horror virtual reality game Green Hell VR Quest Edition is currently in development for PSVR 2, and it's planned for release sometime in 2023. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that Epic Games and Sony are working together to resolve issues with input lag in PS5 fighting games developed on Unreal Engine. It's weird. Chipmaker AMD is hiring engineers to work on a new system on chip for the next PlayStation, presumably a PS5 Pro. Insider Tom Henderson reported that the Modern Warfare 2 reveal will take place on June 8th. Fuck yeah, let's fucking go. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Dauntless, Deathloop, Rainbow Six Siege, Rainbow Six Extraction, The Division 2, Destiny 2, Rocket League, Shadow Warrior 3, Stellaris, and Dreams. So if you've been waiting for some new content or fixes, check it out. PlayStation China hero project game Fist, Forged in Shadow Torch, will get a physical release on PS4 and PS5 in the third quarter of this year. A major content update for World War II FPS Hell Let Loose will hit PS5 this week on May 17th. featuring new maps, new weapons, and new vehicles. Let's fucking go. Publisher Capcom revealed that they have plans to launch multiple major new titles by April of next year. Bulletstorm and Outriders developer People Can Fly have 5 new projects in development, including one with Square Enix known as Project Gemini, one with Take-Two Interactive called Project Dagger, and a self-published title known as Bifrost. They have 2 other titles in the concept phase. Website Gematsu reported that side-scrolling action RPG The Vagrant is coming to PS4 and PS5 sometime in June.
This sounds perfect for you.
It does. It does. I'm a vagrant, as you know. Action RPG Sword and Fairy 7 will release on PS4 and PS5 worldwide sometime this summer, rebranded as Sword and Fairy Together Forever.
Sounds more gay now.
It does. The PS4 version of Behind the Frame, The Finest Scenery, will launch on June 2nd. Puzzle adventure game One Shot World Machine Edition will launch on PS4 sometime this summer. Interactive story game Wayward Strand will launch on PS4 and PS5 on July 21st. Puzzle adventure game Silt will release on PS4 and PS5 sometime in June. Very heavy, like limbo and inside vibes from that game. I know that means nothing to you, but it will to some people. Episodic narrative game We Are OFK will release on PS4 and PS5 this summer.
What does OFK mean?
OFK is a band, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I thought I meant We Are O fucking K.
That's good. Also, fantasy action game Solstice will launch on PS5 this fall from developer Reply Game Studios, and pre-orders are now available for you suckers. Mystery adventure game Project Code M was announced for PS4 by developer Novect, but no release date was given. Little Witch No Beta will exit early access and release on PS4 on September the 29th. Publisher Game Mill Entertainment announced DLC characters Jenny, Hugh Neutron, and Rocco for their platform brawler Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl.
What's a Jenny?
I don't know. I can't remember what she's from. I should have wrote. I almost typed it in there, but I was like, that I don't like. So, Wonder Boy Collection will release on PS4 on June 3rd. Muso game Warrior Orochi 3 Ultimate Definitive Edition was rated for release in Australia.
Ultimate and definitive. They don't need both of those for.
It couldn't be either one. It had to be both. And finally, Travis Gamatsu reported that Ubisoft will release the previously China exclusive Rabbids game, Rabbids Party of Legends, for PS4 worldwide on June 30th. What a treat. And that is all for the news this week. And I'll now turn it over to Travis for this week's new game releases.
On May the 9th, we had the Slovak run. Interesting. We have on the 10th, we have Euden Chronicle Rising, Lethis Path of Progress, Rage Among the Stars, Salt and Sacrifice, This War of Mine, Complete Edition, Unpacking, We Were Here Forever. None of those sound fun. 0%.
It's my marriage.
I would. Which part? Unpacking, This War of Mine.
Salt and Sacrifice.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Rage Among the Stars, all of it.
All of it.
Anyway.
Slovak run. If you put a gun to my head, I'd play the Slovak run because it sounds way more interesting. Okay, on the 11th, we have ACA Pro Tennis Court, Pro Tennis World Court. What does that mean? Pro Tennis, they have a Supreme Court. Anyway.
Yeah, you have like Circuit Court, District Court,
Tennis World
State Court, Supreme Court, and the Tennis World Court.
We also have Dogs Donuts, Flippin' Cactus with a K, Horror Bar VR, Infinite Link,
Horror Bar,
Rogue Lords, Soundfall, Source of Madness, Tourist Bus Simulator. On the 12th, we have the Centennial Case, a Shijima story. On the 13th, we have Evil Dead the Game and Instant Sport Plus. Terrible. None of these games look fun at all, just based.
Whoa.
I know you played one of them.
Whoa.
Tourist these bus simulator games are always killing me. So Tourist Bus Simulator makes me feel like you ride the bus instead of driving it, which does not sound fun at all.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of notable games here that I would like to point out. First of all, Unpacking just won a BAFTA award, and it's supposed to be very good, very zen, indie game, puzzle game, relaxing game. Also, Salt and Sacrifice is a big one. Salt and Sanctuary game was very popular and very good on PS4 and Vita back in the day. So now this is the sequel to that. It's out. Sadly, not on Vita, of course. Ayuden Chronicle Rising is the companion game to the upcoming Ayuden Chronicle 100 Heroes game that comes out next year from the people who made Suikoden. And then, what else here? There was one other. Oh, yes. Soundfall, which I bought on a whim because I saw the trailer and I was like, yeah, this looks fucking dope. It is a twin stick rhythm based shooter. And I have played a little bit so far. And I'm not ready to give a full review or rating of it, but I can recommend that you play it if you like either of those genres, but in particular twin stick
Mhm.
shooters. I'm really enjoying it so far. Definitely play with headphones. And if you're curious about what it plays like, what it looks like, I put a YouTube video up on our channel about the first 10 minutes of gameplay. You can check that out, but it's really cool so far. And the beat of the music pulses through the dual sense. So that's kind of neat.
I stopped being a fan of rhythmic twin stick shooters after Columbine.
Fair. That's fair. That's understandable. You know, some it that'll scar you for life.
Well,
All
not
right.
very long.
Oh boy, too soon?
I don't
All
know.
right. Let's Travis, let's start to wrap the show up here
Mhm.
as we always do by discussing what we have been playing and anything that we're looking forward to. So what's on your plate?
Yeah, we played a little bit more F1 21, and we actually were at a track we both liked, the Red Bull Ring in Austria.
Fuck
Red
yeah.
Bull Ring's one of my favorite tracks. It's just fun. It's not that it's easy per se. Like it's funny because on the F1 game it literally says very easy, and it is compared to like Monaco, for example, which is the hardest fucking track in the world. It's just fun, and there's some technical parts that you have to get right, but you can really feel the speed in the car. Like it's just fun. I think we got a double podium there,
That's right.
which begs the question: is the AI too easy, or did our advancements in our car finally catch up? So both are legitimate questions, and they're both probably true to some extent. So we'll figure out the balance on the difficulty at some point. It might take us a minute, but we'll
Yeah.
get there. What else did we play? Oh, Insurgency was fun. We played some Insurgency this week. We played against bots and humans.
Hmm.
Of course, when you play the bots, God, I don't even know how many kills we had playing the bots. I think we both had like 40 kills. You know, each
Hmm.
time we would finish a whole game, you'd have 40 something kills on the bots. So it's not that it's necessarily easier because I mean, I legitimately got my head blown off a couple times where like I'm sneaking around like you normally would, and you come around the corner and they just blow your fucking face off. It's okay.
Just bah. Yeah.
But that being said, if you want high volume kills with action, that's the way to go. We did play against some
Yeah.
other humans, and that was a lot of fun. Obviously, when you play other people, they're much better at like calling in helicopters and smoke and gas and stuff. So that part of it is another wrinkle you have to get used to. But no, it was a blast. We had a good time. I'm actually not bad at it, and we were playing with people. I think that maybe we're taking it a little bit more seriously than we were on a few
Mm.
boards. There's also some boards where we were like getting our absolute shit pushed in, and we ended up winning. So I mean, my favorite thing about it is like the damage is realistic. Like
Yeah.
one shot, they're down if you hit them in the face. And then of course I played GT7. Still trying to get some credits for, so I can buy that last card, get that trophy there. And I'm slowly racing online to get to my 50 races. So I did some missions just to get some credits out of the way. Some of the missions are easier and they're just kind of fun because they're missions, they're challenges. So it's like, pass 7 cars in a half a lap, and it's, like, really difficult, but it's just fun to do, and it's a good way to get your miles, for your daily challenge without actually, like, racing online or whatever, so I did that a little bit when I had some time to kill. I did race online, I won, at Trial Mountain, which is one of my favorite tracks. Passed a guy on the last lap. It's on YouTube if you want to watch it. I did some commentary there. It was unexpected. I didn't put it in the video when I talked. I think the world record time I was probably like 4 seconds off, and that's not great. If I'm
Mm,
under 2 seconds is when I'm happy. Like when I feel like I'm in really good form driving, I'm at worst case scenario, I'm 2 seconds off the world record pace. Like that's when I feel like I'm in good form. And when I'm in great form, I'm teetering on a second, right? And even then you're still be like 4 or 5 thousandth in the world ranking on the fastest lap because like everybody's fast.
yeah.
But I ran like I don't even remember what my time was. I was legitimately like it didn't even feel fast. Like it, you know what I mean? Like didn't feel fast at all. And got into the lobby and I was second on the grid. I was like, okay, so there
Nice.
must be like a pretty big division of talent on that track. There must be like a because there are tracks where like if you're within 3 seconds of the world record, like you're doing really good. And I didn't think Trial Mountain was one of those, but regardless, I started second and I ended up winning the race. And in the race, I was actually faster than my qualifying time. So I figured out how to get faster as the race went along, which is how I found the guy, which is a good thing. I'm always, like I say in the video, my race pace is what I'm good at. I've never been good at qualifying, but being consistent, getting the same speeds on old and new tires with lots of fuel and no fuel, that's what I'm good at. So anyway, that kind of shone through there. And I told you it was my first win.
Oh yeah.
However,
Did you lie to me?
I went to look at
Did you lie to our
I
YouTube
did.
audience?
So
Oh, you
I
fucking
went and looked at my stats
this fucking
to see
guy.
how many races I had. And I've done 11 online races and I've won two of them. And I don't remember the other one I won. I have no idea what it was.
Really memorable, huh?
Yeah, I swear, there's no way. How would I forget that? It can't be right. I've been
Cocaine's a hell of a
racking my
drug.
brain. I don't know. I don't know. I have another race saved, but I didn't win that race. I came in third in it, but the only reason I saved it was because like there was 15 crashes behind me, and I thought it was funny. But anyway, that's all I've been playing. But we'll see. We'll see what this week has.
Well, as you can see, I've been playing quite a bit this week. I'll start with F1. We both played that together. And yeah, I fucking love that Austrian track. Austria, hey? Throw another shrimp on the bobby. Yeah, I felt like I could just fucking fly on that track. And that was definitely a needed change of pace after we did the one in France that's just like a fucking corkscrew.
Yeah, I put that one on there just to kind of see what would happen.
I'm not good at that one. Yeah, so I really enjoy F1. I don't understand what's going on with the vehicles and like the parts and or the cars and like the parts and shit. Like all that's kind of
Mhm,
above me. It's I don't understand the technical aspects of it, but the on course, the racing itself, which is the part that arguably has to be the most fun, is truly fun, and I really like it. The only problem is that I can only do like one circuit at a time or one race weekend at a time because it just fucking destroys my hands because I just get like so into it and I'm like got like a death grip on the dual sense and it's just fucking vibrating and
mhm,
fighting me and everything. And my hands hurt so fucking bad after we do a race. So but yeah, I really like it. Really like it. So much so that I pre-ordered 2022, as I told you.
mhm,
So I'm excited about that. That'll be
mhm,
fun, and it'll have the Miami GP on there and all that stuff. So I'm excited about it, and have co-op career, of course,
mhm.
which is what we've been doing. So of course, also played Insurgency as you mentioned, and yeah, that game's phenomenal. And just the gunplay, the gun audio, the gun animations.
It's kind of funny sometimes too. Like,
Yeah, it's that's why I was laughing when you were talking about you got your head blown off a couple times because you'll like they'll like kick in a door and shoot you like immediately. It's just like
yeah,
pow, and you're just like really surprised by it, and you're dead at the same time. And it's just, you can't help but laugh. It's just like boom, pow, and you're
yeah.
dead.
It's also hilarious. Like it happened to you one time. I was watching you play because I already died, and you
Yeah.
just I heard the noise, and then you were just dead.
Or you can hear this when you hear the cell phone on the suicide bomber
Oh
ones.
yeah,
and you hear like the ringing, and you're just like, oh fuck, where is it coming? And then boom, and you're
Yeah.
just fucking dead.
Like that one that the one I was in that room and the guy you heard the cell phone coming and I was the last one alive and I'm hip firing dudes, taking them out, and he comes in and
uh,
blows up the door, and
yeah.
somehow I lived. I don't know how I
Yes.
lived.
I heard it and I said, I heard the cell phone. I said, oh no. And then, and then like, the door saved your life somehow. The fucking wood door. So that was pretty funny. But yeah, man, I love that game. And they're putting out a big update next week, kind of like Hell Let Loose. A new map, a couple of new shotguns, some other stuff. So we'll have to check that out. And I guess we're gonna have to check out Hell Let Loose as well, because they're adding a shit ton. So I'm not done there. Wasn't done there. I played some Arcadegeddon over the weekend. I wanted to just check that back out. They've updated it quite a bit since the last time I played it. I recorded some gameplay that I'm actually going to put on the YouTube channel that I'm sure is going to get copyright claimed, because I think I forgot to put it in streamer mode, and it's another kind of like music heavy game. Arcadegeddon is not to be slept on. It's a fucking awesome game. I forgot how good it was,
It's
how
fun.
great it is on the DualSense, how satisfying the gunplay is, and watching the shit like explode into
Yeah.
like paint goop or whatever, or like you use the laser gun and the fucking robots cut in half and whatever. So fantastic game. Fucking awesome. Definitely recommend that. It's in early access right now. You can get it for $20. It's going to go like whatever full release in July. It's going to be 30. So if you're at all interested, get it now and save yourself $10. I also re-downloaded Rainbow Six Extraction, like I told you. I was thinking about doing at lunch the other day. Hopped in a game, a mission on that over the weekend. I think I actually got a couple of good randoms that I was playing with, and that was fun. I think that game is a little bit underrated, especially if you have people that you can play with, that friends that are, not randoms. Usually, randoms are, as you all know, I'm sure, pretty hit or miss. But yeah, that game's underrated. I mean, it's nothing crazy. Like if you're on the fence, definitely don't pay $40 for it. But it's on sale pretty regularly now, and it may even be on PlayStation Plus Premium at some point. But yeah, I can recommend that as well if you're into like co-op, kind of tactical horde shooter experiences. Pretty fun. And then I got back on my saddle. I re-downloaded Red Dead Online because I'm a fucking idiot. Played some of that. And that's just, I mean, Red Dead 2 is my favorite game ever, so not much else I can say about it. They obviously haven't updated that game because they have abandoned it. But there are some rumors that they've been updating some things in the back end that people have data mined from the servers. So there's just scuttlebutt about something coming, but we don't know what. In reality, it's probably nothing, but we'll see. But yeah, Red Dead Online, I'm back. So then I played WWE 2K22, some more My Faction. Not much else to say about that game. It's just, I can't believe how much I like it. It's just really fun to play. I don't really know what I'm doing. I'm not getting, too serious about it. But yeah, it's a ton of fun. And every wrestler that I've used so far feels different from their like move set and stuff. So my favorite has been Rey Mysterio because he just fucking like flies all around and dive off shit, and it's just awesome. But and he does like he's like somersaulting backflip things and pins. I don't know. It's cool. So anyway,
Yeah, but
yeah,
also
fun game.
it seems like there's no weight to it as like I feel like when you play 2K sometimes there's like a weight to it, like a pressure to it.
Mm,
But WWE just seems like you're just seating your pants, you'll figure it out as it happens.
yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. It's very fun. And then the last thing that I played, and finally, y'all are like, "Fuck this guy! Where's this guy getting all this time?" But some of the stuff I only played for like an hour or so. But the last thing that I played, as I mentioned earlier, was Soundfall, the indie game that just came out this week on PS5 and PS4. It's a rhythm based twin stick shooter, and it is very good so far. Definitely something to check out. Like I said, play it with headphones. The soundtrack is actually like real songs, which I didn't know. I didn't expect that, but it's like real licensed music,
Oh, okay,
and I got
what's
a
it based?
copyright. Like whatever they made the music themselves, but
Oh,
it's like an actual like artist made soundtrack. And so I got a copyright claim on that video, and I tweeted at them like, what the fuck? And they're like, well, just fill this thing out and we'll whitelist you. So they whitelisted me on YouTube, so I won't get any more copyright claims for any Soundfall video that I put up. So I'll probably put out some more of that at some point. It is $30 normally. It's on discount for PS Plus right now, 10% or 20% off. I don't remember which one. So check that out. PlayStation Universe gave it an 8.5 today. So that's a pretty good review score there. But I think it's a little bit of a sleeper title for this year. Anyway, that's it. That's all I played. That's all we played. And that's it for the show. We've had enough, and you probably have too. So we're going to get out of here. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe on your podcast service or YouTube, and we'll get delivered to you every Monday with a new episode. Also, if you didn't like it, don't forget to review us or leave us a thumbs up or a heart or stars or whatever. Give us a rating, a review, a comment. Very much appreciated. Helps us with the algorithm and all that to get connected with more people. And then also, of course, don't forget to find us on social media, Twitter at the DualSense Pod, Instagram, Facebook, blog. Find us on all that. Let's talk PlayStation. And yeah, we'll see you out there. Have a great week. Take care, and we'll talk at you next time. Bye-bye.